going on, everyone? So, as of right now, there is still no definitive suitor for Zach Lavine. Based on reports that have came out recently, doesn't look like Zach Lavine is going to play till after the NBA trade deadline. For the Chicago Bulls, makes sense, right? The last thing you want, you're already having a hard time finding suitors. You have him play, he ends up getting hurt, and then there goes any potential trade that you may have had for Zach Lavine. But that's also a risk for other teams. Now, obviously, the other teams are going to do their due diligence. They're going to run health scans on him, all kinds of stuff to make sure, like, hey, he's healthy, he can play, he's ready, he's good to go. And it might be good for Zach Lavine, kind of dealing with these, like, little nagging injuries all season to kind of get this extended rest, get this extra rest, and then Chicago can hopefully find a suitor. The Detroit Pistons are still kind of kicking the tires on a potential deal. There's no, like, they're down to do this, but there's also no, like, hey, we're going to back out, we're going to pull out. They're kind of just testing the waters and seeing what happens. I think from a Pistons standpoint, just from what I've gathered, it looks like if Detroit can get him for essentially free, then they might end up making the deal. Or if they can get him for what they want, then that is something. But we got a new report in regards to Zach Lavine and about Chicago and the situation. And this is from a Chicago reporter. So there is a growing sense that the Bulls will have to attach an asset in order to trade Zach Lavine, according to Casey Johnson of NBC Sports Chicago. Reason I want to stress that it's a Chicago reporter is so that way people understand, like, oh, this isn't like some Laker tactic, this isn't some other team tactic, this isn't some other reporter for some other sport that's putting this out there to try to, like, convince the Bulls and create leverage or anything like that, right? So this is from somebody with knowledge inside Chicago. The Bulls have been reluctant to do so and also are not interested in moving Lavine for expiring contracts, which I think is really interesting. Johnson adds that the Pistons, who have been linked with a move for Lavine, are still undecided about a potential deal, as I mentioned. So this is interesting on several fronts. So first off, because this is a Laker channel, so I want to focus on the Lakers side of things with this. Now, the Lakers and Dejounte Murray, that's the number one priority. Lakers are still trying to get a Dejounte Murray trade done, and according to Jake Fisher, it looks like the Lakers and the Atlanta Hawks are pretty confident that they could find a third team for a potential trade for D'Angelo Russell, because Atlanta does not want to take on D'Angelo Russell. So to me, okay, get the Dejounte Murray deal done. Hopefully that gets done sooner rather than later. I would love later today, or depending on when you're watching this video, maybe it's even done, right? I would love for that to happen sooner rather than later, because that'd give us some time, a little extra time to kind of build and see heading into the trade deadline. Okay, what else do we need? How does he fit? What would complement his skill set to kind of get him as comfortable and as productive as possible, right? So let's say the Lakers get the deal done. It's D'Lo, JHS, and a first-round pick, or a first-round pick and a pick swap, or whatever, a couple seconds, whatever. Let's say it's the first in the pick swap, right? So you got Dejounte Murray, right? You are all ready, you're all set, good to go. Now, to me, I don't hate the idea of the Lakers going after Zach Lavine, right? Now, it would be a big investment, no doubt. Obviously, the injuries this season would be a bit concerning. The Lakers would have to do their due diligence, right? The Lakers would have to make sure that he's healthy and good to go. But if you could get Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, good luck, right? Imagine a starting five of Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, Jared Vanderbilt when he's healthy. Obviously, he's out right now, but you could see the future potential of Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Good luck. I mean, at that point, the Lakers might be the best team in the league. You'd have two very athletic guards out on the perimeter. A lot of people talk about Zach Lavine being a terrible defensive player, which he's not. Even this year, he's basically league average. This year, league average is about a 116.5, and Zach Lavine is like 116.3. So he's basically league average. Even last year's league average of defensive rating was a 115, and he was a 114.7. So he's at worst a league average defensive player. And look, I would imagine he'll probably be better with the Lakers, right? Because outside of like Alex Caruso, who does Chicago have that's just like these great defensive players, right? So if you had Zach Lavine and you pair him with the Dejounte Murray, who, if he can get back to being that all-defensive guard, Jared Vanderbilt, who's one of the best on-ball perimeter defenders in the league, and then to have Anthony Davis as your backcourt mate, and even LeBron James, when he's locked in and focused, is still an excellent defender. So I think Zach Lavine would really buy in, and you'd have all these guys, but it would just take so much of a burden off of everything. My only real concern would just be fit, right? Can Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis actually fit and work properly? If it does, again, good luck. And then even post LeBron James, right? Whenever LeBron decides to retire, whenever that is, or go play with the Sun or whatever, leave the Lakers, you would still have Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, Anthony Davis as your core to, right the ship and continue to try to contend for NBA championships. And then you're just putting the pieces around it. Now, can the Lakers get Alex Caruso? So if the reports are true that the Chicago Bulls have to include an asset, can they work it out to where Alex Caruso is that asset? Now, you may have noticed so far, I haven't mentioned Austin Reeves. Now, the Lakers are extremely reluctant to trade Austin Reeves. They don't want to trade Austin Reeves unless it's for like a bona fide all-star level player, right? Now, if you trade D'Lo and you do the Dejounte Murray trade, could you then try to work something out to where you go and get and say, hey, okay, we'll give up Austin Reeves. You don't really want expiring contracts. You don't really care about expiring contracts. We'll give you Austin Reeves, but we want Alex Caruso. So you're going to have to give up assets. You're going to have to give up pieces, whatever, right? Well, we don't have any more first-round picks. We don't have anything to kind of make this work. So instead of you giving us assets, we'll give you a guy in Austin Reeves that you can have for now and the future, but we want Alex Caruso and we want Zach Lavine. I would do that because in the meantime, till Jared Vanderbilt comes back, you could plug in a Alex Caruso at the 3, right? And now you'd have a Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, Alex Caruso, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis starting 5. It's really good. Really good. And Alex Caruso on the defense side, plus his shooting, he's like shooting like 44% from 3 or something like that this season. Like he's shooting excellent. So you'd have his shooting, you'd have his defense, pair that with Zach Lavine, pair that. To me, this would be an all-in type of move. Push your chips to the table, go all in. And maybe if the Lakers were getting Alex Caruso, maybe they'd be more willing, like, okay, yes, we're trading Austin Reeves. We don't like, trading for Austin Reeves for Zach Lavine, but if we get Alex Caruso, then we get that kind of complimentary player that we're shipping out, and we're in more win-now mode than ever, right? Now we're pushing our chips to the table, and then even after post-LeBron, you'd still have now Alex Caruso, Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, Anthony Davis, Jared Vanderbilt, Max Christie, so on and so forth, right? Lakers would still be deep, and also could you maybe get like Andre Drummond? I would love that too. But my thinking is like, okay, can you use Zach Lavine and the fact that he has to, that the Chicago Bulls don't have any other shooters and the Chicago Bulls may need to attach an asset, can you use that as leverage to get Alex Caruso? Because Alex Caruso, fit-wise, if you have a Dejounte Murray, if you have a Zach Lavine, if you have a LeBron James and Anthony Davis, Alex Caruso would just fit that seamlessly, right? Easy plug and play. You also keep him from any other contenders, right? Because pretty much every contender in the league is trying to go after him, right? And then Chicago feels like they win because they get something like, a Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves as like the core package. Like, okay, cool. Now you get these core guys. And then you'd have to give up stuff like a Gabe Vincent. You probably have to throw in Taurean Prince, which Darvin Ham would be upset about, but I wouldn't, right? You probably throw in, maybe you even have to throw in like a Max Christie. But again, at that point, I don't care, right? Like, give up whatever you have to. You end up landing Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, and Alex Caruso to pair with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The only thing that's stopping you is injuries, right? And as long as you are good in that department, you're going to win championships. And you also would have the pieces to kind of offset, like, okay, hey, we need LeBron to rest. But hey, we still have Zach Lavine, Dejounte Murray, and Anthony Davis. Okay, we need Anthony Davis and LeBron to rest. Okay, well, we have Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, Jackson Hayes, or again, maybe get Andre Drummond, Alex Caruso, right? Like, you'd have enough to weather the storm. And look at all the top teams. Most of the top teams are all incredibly top-heavy, right? The Lakers have gone the depth route. I know people are like, oh, like, yeah, but you need depth, you need all this stuff. Like, the depth isn't working, right? We're not this, like, great, incredible team where our depth is actually absolutely killing it and, you know, we need to keep everybody, right? To me, go get the stars, because the stars are the ones that are going to win games. And the difference between role players and stars is stars can bring it every single night. And you won't have to worry about, like, oh, well, you know, what happens when the team just doesn't show up with effort? Well, now you don't have to worry about it. And if any one guy is having an off night, you have 3 others to pick up the slack. I mean, you're talking 4 guys that could go get you 30 plus on any given night. Dejounte Murray, Zach Lavine, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis are all 4 guys that could give you 30 plus on any given night. Now you have enough firepower to compete with Boston. You have enough firepower to compete with, like, the Suns, the Nuggets, you name it, right? You have the firepower to compete at this point. And I really think that that would be enough. I think you'd be an excellent defensive team. I think you'd be an excellent offensive team. I think you'd probably be top 5, at worst top 10 in both, right? It may be a little bit of a learning curve to get over, but also I think you'd have enough talent to really make a push, like you're seeing with, like, the Knicks and like the Clippers, who won like 20 out of the last 25 or whatever, right? That's what the Lakers are going to need. They're going to need something where it's like, okay, we got to win, because right now, they're 3.5, at the time of recording this video, Lakers are 3.5 games out of the 6th seed. It's a lot of games to cover. So you're basically talking 4 games. Now, luckily, the Suns are the 6th seed, and the Lakers have the tiebreaker against the Suns. So that's good. But even then, you still are going to have to cover basically 4 games. And yes, I think if you get Dejounte Murray by himself, that would be great. Maybe you get a couple role players, right? Dorian Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, whatever, right? Yes, I think the Lakers would be great. But I think Zach Lavine, Alex Caruso would make you now the top team in the league, personally. I think you'd have enough firepower, enough talent, enough everything. And I think you'd still be relatively deep, right? Because Jared Vanderbilt's going to come back, right? You'd still have Christian Wood. Let's say you can get Andre Drummond, even if you don't get Andre Drummond, because salary would be really tight, right, to match salaries and stuff like that for Zach Lavine and Alex Caruso. But let's say, whatever, let's say you don't, right? Well, you still have Jackson Hayes. You still have Christian Wood. You'd still have Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, right? It's 2 defensive guys. Alex Caruso, at that point, you could bring off the bench if you wanted to kind of have him be like a secondary ball handler off the bench. And even Zach Lavine has shown the ability to make plays and extend plays and stuff like that. So you have Zach Lavine, Dejounte Murray, LeBron James, and then you could have Alex Caruso, like I said, maybe move him off the bench, Jared Vanderbilt back into the starting lineup if you needed to. You'd still be basically 9 guys deep. You still have the buyout market. You're in good shape, right? I think the Lakers would be in excellent shape, right? You'd still be 7 to 8 guys, like, top deep, right? Because you'd have your starting 5, then you'd have, like, Christian Wood and Alex Caruso. There's basically your 7. You go get a center, or, you know, maybe a center and another backup wing or something like that, you know, if Gordon Hayward gets bought out, right? Okay, cool. Maybe go pick up a Gordon Hayward. Maybe you go pick up a secondary playmaker off the bench, right? Maybe Chris Paul gets bought out, right? Maybe you're going and getting, you know, maybe you go get Chris Paul, Gordon Hayward, and sign like a Bismack Biyombo or something, right? Perfect. You have more than enough now. You are deep. You are talented. You are extremely top 5, ready to compete with anybody. I like the idea, but as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you think, like, yeah, go get Zach Lavine, go get Dejounte Murray, make it happen? Do you think, no, stay away from Zach Lavine at all costs? You know, again, I'd want to get Alex Caruso. I'm all for getting Dejounte Murray and Zach Lavine regardless, but I wouldn't want to, I would, at that point, I'd rather keep Austin Reeves, right? Like, I wouldn't want to trade Austin Reeves just for Zach Lavine. Because if there is an injury concern or there's an issue with Zach Lavine, right, then at least you would have Austin Reeves to fill in. And you'd still have Dejounte Murray, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, right? If there is an issue. Or say Dejounte Murray or anybody goes down, you have Austin Reeves who could step in and play that role, and then you'd have him as a sixth man in the other case, right? But in that case, you'd probably have to work out a 3-team deal with Chicago to where D'Lo is going to Chicago, or you're working something out where, you know, maybe it extends to a 4-team deal or something like that, and D'Lo for his salary. Because again, you'd have to match Zach Lavine's salary, and without, like, if you trade D'Lo elsewhere, Rui and Gabe Vincent only get you like $28 million, something like that. I don't even think it's that much, but let's call it $28 million. You add in Taurean Prince, say that's $33 million. You're still $7 million short, right? And even if you're like stacking up, like maybe Jalen Hood-Schifino goes there. Okay, now you're at, you know, 36 million. Like you'd have to trade like basically your entire roster to go get Zach Lavine at that point. But if you could get Alex Caruso in the deal also, then I would basically sell the farm. At that point, I'd basically give up whatever they want. You can have it, right? Because now you get Caruso, Lavine, and I think you'd be off to the races. But again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.